Have you ever felt like you're living in two completely different worlds at the same time? Like one moment, everything makes perfect sense, synchronicities are flowing, you feel deeply connected to something greater. And then suddenly, without warning, you're dropped back into density, heaviness, and confusion. If you've been experiencing this strange phenomenon, where reality itself seems to shift beneath your feet, then what I'm about to share with you isn't just important. It might be the explanation you've been desperately searching for. Now, I need you to think about something for a moment. Has this ever happened to you? You look at the clock and it's 9 a.m., you sit down to work or read or simply exist, and when you glance up again expecting maybe 15 minutes to have passed, it's suddenly 1 p.m. 4 hours vanished into what felt like a blink. Or the opposite, you're waiting for something, maybe an appointment or a meeting, and 5 minutes feels like an eternity, stretching and warping in ways that make absolutely no logical sense. Time itself has become unreliable, unpredictable, almost liquid in nature. But before we begin, please hit the like button and let me know where in the world you're watching from today. It's always fascinating seeing who's joining us from around the world. And if you haven't already, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any of our future videos. These aren't just random quirks of a busy mind or signs that you need more sleep. What if I told you that these experiences, the shifting between realities, the complete breakdown of linear time, are actually evidence of something profound happening to your consciousness? Florence Scovel, a pioneering metaphysical teacher, understood something that most people still can't grasp. We are not confined to a single-dimensional experience. Right now, in this very moment, multiple versions of Earth exist in the same space, vibrating at different frequencies, and you are beginning to perceive both. Think about the moments when you feel absolutely aligned, when everything flows effortlessly, when you think of someone and they immediately text you, when the universe seems to be orchestrating every detail of your life with perfect precision. That's not coincidence. That's you accessing a higher dimensional frequency. And then there are the other moments, the heavy, dense, frustrating times when nothing works, when people are stressed, when the world feels chaotic and overwhelming. That's you perceiving the lower frequency reality. Stay with me until the end of this video, because what you're about to discover might completely transform how you understand your own experience. The flickering between these two states, the time distortions, the feeling that reality has somehow changed its rules, these aren't problems to fix. They're confirmations of something extraordinary. You're not losing your mind. You're not becoming disconnected from reality. You're actually becoming more aware of multiple realities existing simultaneously, and your consciousness is learning to navigate between them. The question isn't whether this is real. The question is, now that you're aware of it, what do you do next? Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic, because what I'm about to share might actually explain some things you've been worrying about for months, maybe even years. Your body has been trying to tell you something, and you've probably been misinterpreting the message entirely. Has this ever happened to you? You wake up one morning and your heart is racing for no apparent reason. You haven't had coffee yet, you're not anxious about anything specific, but your heartbeat is irregular, pounding in ways that make you wonder if something is seriously wrong. Or maybe you've experienced sudden dizziness, vertigo that comes out of nowhere and disappears just as mysteriously. Perhaps you've noticed joint pain that seems to move around your body. One day it's your knee, the next day it's your shoulder, and doctors run tests but find absolutely nothing wrong. Here's the hidden truth that most people never discover. These aren't signs of illness. They're signs of transformation. Your physical body is undergoing a profound shift at the cellular level, and what you're experiencing are the symptoms of your biology upgrading itself. Florence Scovel understood this journey intimately. She taught that our bodies are not fixed, static forms, but rather dynamic energy systems capable of profound change. When your consciousness begins operating at a higher frequency, your physical form has to catch up, and that process isn't always comfortable. Think about the ringing in your ears especially the right one, that high-pitched tone that appears suddenly and then fades away, or the headaches at the crown of your head that don't respond to typical pain relievers. These are energetic activations, not medical problems. Your body is literally recalibrating to hold more light, more energy, more awareness. The extreme fatigue you feel one moment, followed by sudden bursts of incredible energy, this isn't a thyroid issue or adrenal fatigue, though that's what conventional medicine might suggest. It's your system learning to operate on an entirely different energetic fuel source. If this resonated with you, please subscribe to the channel. I create content for people navigating these shifts, and subscribing ensures you won't miss what comes next. And here's where it gets really fascinating. Have you noticed your relationship with food completely shifting? Maybe you used to love a juicy steak, but now the thought of eating red meat makes you feel heavy, almost nauseous. Or perhaps you find yourself standing in the grocery store, inexplicably drawn to the produce section, craving fresh fruits and vegetables like never before. This isn't a conscious decision you made to eat healthier. It's your biology making decisions for you, choosing what it needs to complete this vibrational upgrade. Heavy, dense foods, particularly meat and processed items, carry a lower frequency that literally weighs down your energy field. Your body knows this instinctively and is rejecting what no longer serves your transformation. Florence Scovel Shinn was absolutely clear about this. To move into higher dimensions of consciousness, the physical vessel must become lighter. Not necessarily in terms of weight, but in terms of vibrational density. Every cell in your body is being asked to vibrate faster, to hold more light, to operate according to new rules that your mind hasn't fully comprehended yet. This is why you're craving water constantly, why you might be eating less but feeling satisfied, why certain foods that used to bring you comfort now bring you discomfort. Your DNA itself is activating dormant codes, awakening capacities that have been sleeping within you, waiting for this exact moment of readiness. The impact of this transformation reaches into every aspect of your life, behind the scenes of what you show the world. Write in the comments, "My body is transforming," if any of this resonates with your current experience. What starts happening next is perhaps the most fascinating revelation of this entire journey, and it's something you've probably been noticing but dismissing as mere coincidence. Except there comes a point where calling it coincidence becomes almost laughable because it's happening so frequently that you can't ignore the pattern anymore. You think about an old friend you haven't spoken to in months, and within hours, sometimes minutes, they call you or send you a text message. You need specific information or help with something, and seemingly out of nowhere, the exact person or resource appears in your life at precisely the right moment. You glance at the clock and it's 11:11. Then later it's 2:22, then 3:33, and these repeating numbers follow you everywhere, on license plates, receipts, phone numbers, random screens you happen to look at. Most people would write this off as selective attention, as your brain simply noticing patterns that were always there. But here's the hidden truth behind the scenes of what's really happening. You're not imagining this. You're experiencing a fundamental shift in how you interact with reality itself. In the three-dimensional world that most of humanity operates within, synchronicities are rare, surprising events that make you pause and think, "Wow, what were the odds?" But when your consciousness begins operating at a higher frequency, these meaningful coincidences become your normal, everyday experience. You're tapping into a unified field of consciousness where everything is connected, where thoughts and manifestations happen almost simultaneously because there's no time delay between intention and reality. Florence Scovel Shinn taught extensively about this principle, that we live in a universe of infinite supply and perfect timing, and when we align with higher frequencies, we naturally flow with this orchestration. You're not creating these synchronicities through wishful thinking. You're perceiving the interconnectedness that was always there, the web of consciousness that links every person, every event, every moment into a coherent whole. This is why you're always in the right place at the right time now. Your awareness has expanded to see the perfection in the timing of your life. But with this expansion comes something that might feel limiting at first, though it's actually profoundly protective. Have you noticed that you can't watch the same movies anymore? That film you used to love, the action thriller with intense violence, now makes you feel physically ill. Horror movies that once thrilled you now feel like they're inflicting actual trauma on your system. Even turning on the news has become unbearable. 5 minutes of the broadcast, and you have to shut it off because the heaviness is overwhelming. Friends who gossip constantly, who thrive on drama and negativity, suddenly drain every ounce of your energy. Being in their presence feels like being slowly poisoned. This isn't weakness. This isn't you becoming overly sensitive or unable to handle reality. This is your frequency rising so high that exposure to fear-based, low-vibrational content causes genuine discomfort in your physical and energetic body. Florence Scovel-Shinn was incredibly clear about this principle. Fear is what keeps people trapped in lower-dimensional consciousness. Fear, violence, negativity, drama, these are all dense frequencies, and when your personal vibration has risen significantly, encountering these lower frequencies creates a jarring dissonance that your body rejects instinctively. It's similar to how a person who's been eating clean, whole foods for months will feel genuinely sick if they suddenly eat fast food. Their system has adapted to a higher standard and can no longer tolerate what it once consumed without thought. Your mindset is shifting from tolerance of negativity to a protective selectivity about what you allow into your field. This transformation in your relationship with media, entertainment, news, and even the people you spend time with is a clear indication that your energy has fundamentally changed. The impact of this shift means making difficult decisions about who you spend time with and what content you consume. Write in the comments, "I can feel the difference now," if this resonates with your current experience. What happens alongside this heightened sensitivity to content and media is something even more profound and sometimes overwhelming. You've become acutely aware of energy itself, not in some abstract theoretical way, but in a tangible, undeniable manner that affects you constantly. You walk into a room where people are gathered, and before anyone says a single word, you know exactly what the emotional atmosphere is. There's tension in the air, or joy, or sadness, and you feel it as clearly as you'd feel a change in temperature. Someone sits down next to you and tells you they're fine, they're doing great, everything's wonderful, but you know they're lying because you can feel the heaviness radiating from them, the unspoken sadness or anxiety that their words are trying to mask. If this video brought you clarity, hit that like button. It helps this message reach others who need to hear it right now. This ability isn't something you asked for or trained yourself to develop. It simply started happening, and now it's become impossible to turn off. You spend an afternoon with a friend who's going through a difficult divorce or dealing with family crisis, and even though you're just listening and being supportive, when you finally leave, you feel absolutely drained. You're exhausted, sad, anxious, except none of these emotions are actually yours. You've absorbed what they were carrying, and now you're processing feelings that don't belong to you. This can be confusing, even frightening at first, because you might not understand what's happening or why you suddenly feel terrible after being around certain people. But here's the revelation that changes everything. This is unity, consciousness beginning to activate within you. The illusion of separation that defines three-dimensional existence is dissolving. You're starting to experience the fundamental truth that Florence Scovel-Shinn taught throughout her work. We are all connected. We are all one unified field of consciousness. What you're feeling isn't weakness or some kind of energetic dysfunction. It's an expansion of awareness that allows you to literally feel your connection to everyone around you. You're no longer operating from the limited perspective that sees each person as a completely separate, isolated being. You're perceiving the energetic reality beneath the physical surface, the emotional and spiritual currents that flow between all people at all times. This transformation in your perception inevitably leads to massive, sometimes shocking changes in your external life. And these changes often make absolutely no logical sense to the people around you or even to your own rational mind. That job you've had for years, the one you used to love that brought you satisfaction and purpose, suddenly it feels unbearable. You wake up one morning and the thought of going to that workplace fills you with a heaviness you can't explain. Or maybe a relationship that seemed perfectly fine, a friendship that's lasted decades, mysteriously ends. They ghost you, or you ghost them, and there's no dramatic fight or clear reason why the connection just dissolves. You might feel compelled to move to a different city, change your entire career path, end situations that from the outside looked stable and good. And when people ask you why, you struggle to articulate a logical explanation because the truth is you don't fully understand it yourself. You just know, deep in your bones, that staying in these situations feels wrong now. There's a profound inner knowing pushing you towards something different, even though you can't see what that something is yet. Florence Scovel-Shinn called this frequency separation, and it's one of the most challenging aspects of this entire journey. What's happening behind the scenes of your life is a massive recalibration. Everything and everyone that vibrates at a lower frequency, that's rooted in three-dimensional consciousness, naturally begins to fall away from your experience. This isn't punishment. It's not the universe taking things from you or you somehow failing at maintaining relationships and stability. It's alignment. Your frequency has risen to such a degree that staying in environments, relationships, and situations that operate at the old frequency becomes energetically impossible. The discomfort you feel is your system telling you that these things no longer match who you've become. Space must be created for new connections, new opportunities, new life circumstances that actually resonate with your transformed state of being. Put down in the comments, I'm experiencing this shift, if these changes are happening in your life right now. Now here's where this journey reveals something absolutely beautiful, something that makes all the confusion and upheaval worth every uncomfortable moment. Amidst all the changes, the losses, the strange symptoms, and the overwhelming sensitivity, you've also been experiencing something else entirely. These inexplicable moments of pure bliss that come out of absolutely nowhere. You're sitting in traffic or washing dishes or walking down the street, and suddenly you're overwhelmed with joy so profound it brings tears to your eyes. There's no external reason for it. Nothing particularly wonderful just happened, but you feel this surge of love for everything and everyone, this gratitude so immense it fills your entire chest and makes you want to laugh and cry simultaneously. Maybe you're watching the sunset and the beauty of it hits you so intensely that you actually weep. Or you hear a piece of music, and it doesn't just sound pleasant. It touches something deep within your soul and opens a floodgate of emotion. A child laughs nearby, and that simple sound fills you with such profound peace and connection that you have to pause whatever you're doing, just to absorb the moment. These aren't random emotional spikes or signs of instability. They're glimpses behind the curtain, revelations of your natural state when you're fully aligned with higher consciousness. They're your system showing you what's waiting for you, what's possible when you stabilize in this elevated frequency. You're also receiving information in ways you never have before. Sudden realizations download into your awareness, complete and fully formed, as if you've always known them, but somehow forgot. These insights don't feel like learning something new. They feel like remembering, like accessing knowledge that was stored somewhere within you all along. This is the hidden truth of transformation. You're not becoming something you weren't. You're remembering what you've always been underneath all the conditioning and limitations. Florence Scovel-Shinn understood this principle deeply when she taught that we will see it when we believe it. Most people have it backwards. They're waiting to see evidence before they'll believe something is real. But consciousness doesn't work that way. Your belief, your acceptance, your willingness to acknowledge what you're experiencing creates the stability that allows you to perceive it consistently. This is why some people can access these higher states briefly, but can't maintain them. Their doubt, their rational mind that insists this can't be real, pulls them back down into denser frequencies. The impact of Understanding this principle is profound because it means you have agency in this process. You're not at the mercy of random fluctuations. There are practical decisions you can make, daily practices that help anchor you in this elevated state rather than constantly flickering between dimensions. When you wake up each morning, before you check your phone or think about your to-do list, place both hands on your heart. Feel your heartbeat. Take 3 deep, conscious breaths and declare with absolute conviction that you exist in the 5th dimension, not as wishful thinking, but as recognition of what already is. Throughout your day, pause 3 times, morning, midday, and evening, and scan your internal state. Notice whether you're perceiving reality from fear or from love, from separation or from unity, from control or from flow. This simple act of awareness creates a checkpoint that helps you recognize when you've slipped into 3-dimensional thinking so you can consciously choose to return to the higher frequency. Keep a journal by your bed, and each evening, before sleep, write down every synchronicity you notice that day. What you focus on expands, and this practice trains your consciousness to perceive the interconnectedness that's operating constantly. When you find yourself pulled into drama or stress or fear, use that moment as an opportunity to consciously release it, to remind yourself that this is the old reality and you're choosing a different one. Write in the comments, "I choose higher consciousness," if you're ready to commit to these practices. If you've made it all the way here with me, I want you to know that's not an accident. You're here because something in you recognizes this truth, because you're living this experience right now and needed confirmation that you're not alone in it. The fact that you stayed through this entire conversation tells me you're serious about understanding what's happening to you, and that means everything. If this content resonated with you, if it helped clarify what you've been experiencing, I'd be grateful if you'd hit that subscribe button. I create these videos because there are people like you who need this information, who are going through profound transformations and can't find explanations anywhere else. When you subscribe, you're making sure you don't miss the next piece of this puzzle, the next insight that might be exactly what you need to hear at exactly the right moment. And here's what I'd love. Write in the comments, "This message was meant for me, so I know you were here, so I can see that this resonated with someone real." When I read your comments, it reminds me why I do this work, why these conversations matter so much. If this video brought you clarity or peace or that feeling of finally being understood, go ahead and hit the like button. It helps this message reach other people who are searching for these answers, people who are experiencing the same things you are, but think they're going crazy because nobody's talking about it. There's a video right here that goes even deeper into how to navigate these dimensional shifts and maintain your stability when everything around you feels like it's dissolving. Click and continue with me over there, because what we've talked about today is just the beginning of understanding what's really happening to you. I'll see you there.